The living room is where you spend most of your time and the rest of the family spend most of their time.
We don't call this our living room. This is what I suppose. So you have to, you see, some people think it's very snobby. You see, some people call it sitting room or front room or parlour or lounge. You see, all these different times over the years. Has it been changed? You know, the parlour was your front room where you parleyed.
And a parley.
That's where you all met together.
I think in this room what I'm pretty much after is that experience of being transported, whether it's through music or books. And that's pretty much what I'm aiming for and what the room's designed for. And that's why it's perhaps decorated fairly sparsely. So concentrate on what I'm reading, what I'm listening to.
I don't miss the traditional elements that you had in an old house. I don't miss the wonky walls and the bad plastering and those sort of elements. I like the nice clean lines.
Friends that come here, or when they used to come here, they said to me, you should always keep this room the nicest to chill out in, to relax in. Once I'm in my home, it's my sanctuary. It's somewhere I don't want the outside world to come into. Nobody to question, even in their minds, why is it such a mess, or why is there dirt, and I didn't wash this toilet seat out and that kind of thing. I just wanted to be on my own.
In the Caribbean, we lived in the yard, really. The reality was that we lived in the yard, and we kept the yard, spotless, and that's where we lived. You got up in the morning and you went outside, and you went back inside to sleep, so I'm used to that kind of way of being, So when I first came to England, my mother and father, we lived in a room in Shepherd's Bush, the three of us. Again, it was like, it was a bed, half of the room was my mum and dad's bedroom, the other half was the living room, dining room, and my bedroom. It's just, I was the first one to come. So that's the kind of living space that I was used to, always a very restricted space, never having my own room, never having, always being, kind of very cramped for space.
The difference between this room and the rooms in my parents' house is that the rooms are actually smaller. When we first saw it on the 25th of May 1957, it didn't have wallpaper on. It was distempered in rather garish colours. There was a coal fireplace where we've got this imitation fireplace now, and of course there was no central heating, therefore you needed a coal fire, and coal was still officially rationed in those days, so you only got one sack of coal per week. Fortunately we knew the coalmen, and so we occasionally got a little bit more.
The whole focus of this room, which dictates where the seats are, where the bookcase is the stereo. The stereo pretty much is the reason there's a room here. It's the focus of it, without a doubt. The chairs equally spaced between each speakers. The bookshelf adds a bit of insulation for next door. So that's the dictating of it all, really. Yeah.
The living room, when I was a child growing up, was really my dad's room to invite guests into. So he decided what went in that room, and he loved English antiques, which I hate, and they were horrible, and lots of things in glass cabinets as well. And it was all like look but don't touch, and it was kind of like to show his, I don't know, it's a bit show-offy, you know, so guests could come and look at the new antique that he'd bought. And it wasn't antiques at all, they cost loads of money, but they were horrid.
Space is going to become increasingly scarce because the population shows no sign of shrinking. If anything, is increasing. So I think that, if anything, living rooms are going to be a little bit more compact, is perhaps the word.
Places become more, smaller.
But then after the war, gradually television was the thing, you see, because it meant you didn't have to go out, you see.
I think the focal point that can be a fireplace in most modern houses has been replaced in any case, because most people now, their focal point has become the television set.
You're not doing badly. If you had an 80s screen, that one, you're really sort of... Where's it going? You're watching the television now, you can follow.
People become too much focused on the television, so it becomes, they work their life around those particular timings on the TV. Oh, we've got to make sure we finish dinner at this particular time so that we can all sit down and watch something together. But in a sense, if you can get the family to do something together, I think that's a good idea. And if it gives people a social interaction together, then that's great. There's a principle that Bedset is built upon that says that if we all build houses based on the standard barrack box type principle, we'll actually need three times the number of planets to live on. Resources won't last. It's called three planet syndrome. If more houses were built this way, we'd actually use the right level of resources to the planet, and we'd have sustainability. At the moment, we're actually eating into the resources of our children.
Before there was television, basically, right well as an evening, you would sit by the fire, you might go a pack of cards, you might play, if you're just yourself, you might play Patience, you might read a book, or basically, right well, just talk, and not much difference from sitting round a campfire, because right well it was the focal point of the room.
I hate baggage. I really can't bear having lots of things, and I feel great when I've actually given almost everything I have away, because I've got to go off to Uganda to work there for 2 or 3 years, and I can't keep it.
Because it's pretty and cute.
What's your take?
Pretty things. Pretty, cute things that make people happy. Beautiful things. Colourful things.
Astro Boy's the robot boy with the human heart.
I quite like the weird, bizarre, kitsch things which are, I don't know, have a story. We definitely don't want our living room to be focused around the television. That's not it at all, and so we try and give ourselves other things to focus on and get lost in.
Quite like my animal trinkets and stuff, because I don't really want a real pet. I'd much rather have these kind of pets, if you like. Maybe they are kind of like pets, really.
We like having like family dinners together.
like watching TV at the same time together. We have like programs, Indian programs or like music programs watch together. So we just sit together and just chill out. Most of the stuff we got in here, like the different objects, is from some from India. When we went, this big picture over here is from India. That clock over there is from Switzerland. The rest like from Norway, where we've been traveling, and all gifts from family members. Yeah, it does. Our living room does show a lot of like what we like doing, what we like collecting. Because as we've got like different things from different countries, we always bring back like a souvenir to put in our sitting room so we can remember it.
Increasingly, people are working from home as well as from an office.
From my perspective, working from home has meant that I need to be very regimented in what I do, because trying to make sure I use the space properly. Otherwise, it would be very easy to come home from and say, "Oh, well, I'll work over the weekend." I'm trying to make those dividing lines between home and work, and I make a conscious effort that when I get up in the morning, I put a suit on and I actually have a shave, and I do those things I would do as if I was going to work, but I'm just going to do it here from the office here.
I think people express themselves in sort of in current culture, put their own stamp on things. And it's hard to see. I don't think people necessarily need to do anything completely over the top, but I think you can't help but put your own stamp on things, whether it's particularly, I think a lot of the things in my room define my identity, from my books or records, are very much how I think of myself. I think that's the same for a lot of people. So I think people manage it against the odds, really.